talk with you again. Because a vision saw me creeping. Left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
All right, it gets me every time. At AT&T, we believe connecting changes everything. And in this case, it changed a football game, and it changed the helmet used to protect football players. So in the first 5G use case of the day, I wanted to bring our customers here and our fearless innovation partners from Gallaudet University just up the street. And what I want to do first, Coach Chuck, thanks for joining us. Brandon, thanks for joining us. I thought, Coach, since you were able to use this last October, first game, you brought it out. Yep. What was it like to use the helmet in a game?
Well, October 7th will be a day in history that we'll all never forget. Talk about nerves, right? So many people showing up from AT&T, everyone there watching. Talk about pressure to win a game, right? We couldn't use this technology and equipment and lose. And everything was just the way it was supposed to be, right? Just open communication, fast, real-time communication, something we've not had. And talk about pressure, this guy right here stepped up to the table, third play of the game. All the nerves were finished after he runs 70 yards for a touchdown. So it was a pretty cool experience.
That's the way to do it. I heard in the huddle after, the team meeting after the game, that you said you were 5G fast, baby.
I do recall saying that. There was a lot of emotions. I wish Brandon ran 5G fast, but he's still pretty fast. That could be an NIL deal for him, 5G fast.
5G fast.
Brandon, 5G fast.
Yeah, that's a hashtag right there. It's pretty cool. Can you talk a little bit about, okay, so we have the fast speed,
yep,
the reliability of the 5G network that is connecting the helmet itself. How did it change how you managed the game?
Yeah. Well, first for us, the most important was as a step in the right way for us to kind of break through barriers. We don't have a level playing field. We don't. Our players can't hear. Now, it doesn't matter, and we still play football, right? Gallaudet's been playing football for 140 years. And we play well. But with this technology, it was different for us. Normally I call a play, I signed it in. We don't make up signals. We don't have to worry about Michigan stealing play calls from us. Normally I make sure Brandon can see me, because if he can't see us, then there's the communication, there's nothing. There'd be no way. I like seeing Brandon and our quarterback to make sure that he has the confidence and I'm ready. I'm confident with the play I called. But I stood about 20 yards away from Brandon, and he didn't look at us one time. Gallaudet University created the football huddle in 1894. We were the one responsible for that. And we used the huddle. We kept our strategy, our team chemistry all in one place, and he was able to just focus and lock in, receive the play call, share it with the team, and go. And to have that experience, and it was amazing.
That's pretty amazing on how the use of 5G helps you change the game, helps you change your position in the game. I was asking Coach Chuck a little earlier if he felt left out. He was used to Brandon looking at him every single play, and there he was running 3 plays in a row without looking over for help. But you were able to change how you led the team. So Brandon, a question for you. how did it change how you led the team on the field? You're the one responsible for making sure the team's running the plays and succeeding out there when you're not running it in for a touchdown.
I would say that the helmet gave me the ability and like confidence where I didn't have to look at Coach Chuck no more. I didn't have to run to the hash and look at him and get the play. It was better and easier to communicate with my team in the huddle.
That's excellent. I didn't hear him say that he missed you.
Nope.
Kind of like my kids.
And what players do, if I'm upset, again, football coaches, right? We're nice people right now, but in the heat of the moment, what he'll do is if I'm mad, he'll turn around and start looking the other way and start walking away. And
really is like my house.
Yeah.
So Brandon, you have to, when you're out on the field, the concept of the football huddle early on, right? You have to communicate within seconds to your team, and you need to let them know what's going on and change the plays. Did the helmet change how you were able to communicate with them?
Yeah, we have 25 seconds on the clock, so I would say, the helmet helped me. When I go to the hash, that take up like 10 seconds of the clock, Coach trying to get this sign from Coach Chuck. But the helmet, is quicker, faster, smoother, and, I got to play in and we was ready to roll.
There we go. Real use cases from here's what fast, high-speed connectivity does for you. Here's what low latency does for you. Here's what that reliable network does for you. So the AT&T connected helmet on 5G helps you stay connected in the huddle, helps you run the plays that you need to with your teams. That's pretty cool.
I think I heard before that connecting changes everything. I don't know where oh.
Wait.
Oh, no.
I think we've had you in the middle of it. It's kind of fun. We're going to switch your jersey over there in a little while. So it's not just Brandon that has to think about, okay, how do I communicate in there? How do I get the team, affected differently? And I mentioned that it does change up. Do you see 5G and the opportunity to use 5G in other ways to make either football or connectivity more inclusive? You spend a lot of time in this area. You speak to a lot of external agencies.
Yes. So again, we've been on an amazing journey, right? And it's been a 2-year journey. We've learned a lot from our mistakes, our feedback, everything working with the developmental team. But one of the reasons we really, from our perspective, of why we were so just motivated, interested in getting involved with AT&T was possibilities, right? We have this amazing technology. We applied it to us on the field. But really what I was interested and motivated for is thinking about our players, right? We have players with different backgrounds. We have deaf players. We have hard of hearing players like Brandon. And a lot of our players did not have positive experience in high school or middle school. And my thought was really like, okay, what if we can change it? If we're leading the way and testing everything, what if in high school they had that opportunity? There was no barriers for communication. And that's what really, where are we going with this? What if NFL, right? You see, Kirk Cousins, if you're a Minnesota fan crying because you couldn't hear the play call, what if this technology made it in the NFL? What if we had a deaf player? What if, Brandon has actually had a junior pro day. There are people interested in him because of his talent. What if he made it to the NFL or the UFL and he could use that technology to level the playing field for him? So again, we just started and we got a long way to go and just to see where the possibilities are. It's cool.
It's really cool. And I think the difference maker also is, we've talked a lot at AT&T over several years now, putting the customer at the center of what we do. And especially when it comes to innovation and creating these 5G use cases, it's critical to know what the customer needs and make it part of the design process to pull in customers and get their feedback. So Brandon, I know you were a part of this process. Your feedback and feedback of your teammates was critical. What was it like being a part of that process? What were some of the key pieces of input that you had that made the helmet better?
I gave AT&T feedback. The first helmet that we had, was really big in the back. I didn't really like that because I couldn't run like I wanted to. So when I gave them the feedback, they came back with a normal size helmet like that one. And it was perfect and it was great. And I had a great experience working with AT&T.
There we go. So wearability and fit weight. You didn't want to do extra neck
Yes, ma'am.
lifts.
And the helmet had to be safe. That was number one,
Yeah.
right? You know, we had questions. Is the eyepiece going to move? You know, and again, we're not tech people, so like, is his brain going to get fried from, 5G and technology? Like, we didn't know, but it's safe, and it's for us. This is just the start, which is pretty what we're looking for.
It's pretty amazing, and it's been a special partnership with all of you. Thank you for going on this journey with us and continuing on the journey.
Absolutely.
As we think about closing out here, what I would ask one last question of you, Coach. Where do you see us headed with the connected helmet as we think about experiences in the game, possibilities that would be next? What would you say your next ask of AT&T 5G connectivity would be? What's the next thing we could do to make the helmet better? Next thing we could do to make connectivity better?
Yeah. So again, this opportunity was one time. It was a one-time in-game waiver. NCAA, they don't allow you to use one-way communication devices. So we got a waiver. And now we're at the point, we gave feedback to the NCAA. We really kind of broke everything down to see what was positive, what we would change. So there's still a lot of questions. So we actually applied for another waiver for the entire season. So I need to know if this technology, the 5G, and is it going to work at all of our different away games and stadiums? So there's a lot of questions. I use the tablet myself. Like, I prefer to have an assistant coach do it, because sometimes I get mad and I don't want to, I don't want to do anything I'm not supposed to do. But again, it's just it's a learning process. So we'll see where it goes. Like, we just to continue that open communication and to see how we can improve and get better. It's possibilities again are endless.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. I'll tag on to that point as we wrap up here to Coach Chuck's point about being able to use this technology no matter where the team plays and ensuring that we have that connectivity. Everywhere a team plays, everywhere connectivity is needed to support that inclusive experience for the deaf and hard of hearing people in the United States. There's definitely a need for 5G for AT&T, and that is access to spectrum. What we are here to talk about and have talked about all morning long so far, and the very specific ask for us to be able to serve you and customers like you is that full spectrum pipeline with access to it.
All right, well, now I'm under the fire here. Let me flip it on you real quick.
Yeah.
Like, with everything that was amazing, what else can AT&T do? Like, what else can you bring to the table? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, what else are you guys capable of doing besides creating a football helmet to level the playing field for us?
Yeah, I think it comes back to innovation has limitless possibilities when you have the spectrum to put the connectivity on it. And so the conversation of the morning we've been able to watch from the green room backstage, and getting that mid-band, fully powered licensed spectrum, access to it, allows us to create these use cases and serve you and serve others in other areas where low latency, real-time connectivity at high speeds is needed. And that real-time translation, like you were talking about, whether that's in a football game, apparently with tablets as well, that need to be protected if Coach Chuck's holding them. But football use, think walking through any type of experience use, whether you're in a restaurant, whether you are touring a museum like we're hosted in today, simply communicating in your everyday life, getting access to that type of help requires that low latency. And then there's a ton of use cases that have been talked about in 5G through several years.
Well, then we'll take another 100 helmets. We need them by August
I'm closing
10th.
sales on stage right now. All right, we'll find people in the back that have access to Spectrum, and we'll get this done. Coach, thank you. Brandon, thank you. It's been really fun. I hope you all get a sense for first 5G use case that we've brought to bear here in the sports arena. It's an exciting place to make a difference. As we've said, connecting changes everything. 5G gives us a chance to do that, and we can't wait to see where we go next.